During this video segment, I want to show you how you can make your lesson plans viewable to the general public, to your parents, students, or whoever the case might be. Make it viewable to people that don't have to log in, so they don't have to log into Curriculum Track. So to set that up, a curriculum admin will actually have to set it up. They'll go to Admin Setup. And then on the left side, there's a link for public access. This is the public access for the unit plans and curriculum maps, the benchmarks. But if you scroll towards the bottom, you'll see public viewing of lesson plans. You'll need to check this box to allow public access. If you don't do that, then there's no way that outside parents, people outside of Curriculum Track will ever be able to see lesson plans. So maybe that's the case, you don't want that, then you uncheck this. But if you check this, now that makes it viewable by parents. So let's just click Save so we make sure we get that saved. So there we are, we have that checked. The next item down is the templates for all the lesson plans. Your school probably only has one of these. This school actually has multiple templates. So the courses, most of the courses that I teach use this default template. What that allows you to do is it allows you to decide which fields you want to make available for parents to see. Maybe you want them to see activities but not materials and objectives. Or if you had homework as one of the fields, you probably want to make that available. So we're going to actually allow our parents to see all three of those fields: objectives, activities, and materials. So the first step, as I said, was to turn it on. Second one is to define which fields you want them to be able to see in the public access. The next item down is public viewing of attachments, and I would recommend that this is not checked. What that does is if you check that, that means anytime a teacher attaches a file or a website link or any attachment whatsoever to your lessons, then those attachments will be available to parents. And so maybe they actually upload an assessment or maybe a quiz or something that would be available for parents and general public to see. Now, you might say, well, from time to time our teachers do want to make some attachments available. I would still uncheck this because notice what this note says. If you check this box, all attachments added to a lesson by teachers will appear in the public view, no matter what. Even if the teachers don't want them to, if you have this checked, they will. However, if you do not check this box, teachers will decide one by one whether they want an attachment to appear. So instead, let's leave that unchecked. And let's click Save once again. And then finally at the bottom here, there are two different ways that are actually three ways, but that you can make this data available to parents. One of them is to use this link right here. So you could copy this link and your tech folks, your IT folks that are in charge of your website could create a link to this. And what it would look like is this right here. So this would allow parents to say, okay, I want to look at the week of 8/21, and my son's teacher is Laura Koss, and then my son actually takes second grade science from her. And notice it shows her lessons for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all the lesson detail. Now remember, we could restrict that. So if we go back and say, you know what, I don't think they really need to see the objectives. So then if we come back here again, turn the objective off and click Save, then when parents look at that, now notice that's out of there. So that's what that selecting fields from the template allows you to do. So that's one way. A second way would be to give this code to your IT folks. And what they can do then is they can actually use an iframe, which basically means they can kind of take that code and plug it in. So instead of seeing this at the top here, this would look like your normal website, and basically just this content in the white area would appear in your website. So that's a nice way if you want to market it, or not market it, but make it look like the rest of your website so it doesn't seem like an outside service. And then the last option here is to export a list for all your class sections with their associated direct URLs. This is pretty complex. I don't think most schools will want this, but what that allows you to do is, for instance, if your teachers have maybe a teacher page, then, for instance, this URL right here is for second grade science during that class period. So it's specific just to that. So let's go ahead and minimize this and put that link in, and notice it goes directly to Laura to that class section. Again, probably a little more complex than most folks want, but the nice thing is it goes right to there. So if you want to create links to it from a teacher page, you could. Whereas this works, they just got to choose their teacher and then the class section. One last thing I'd like to show is, let's go back to the lessons database itself. And we were working with second grade science. And in second grade science, let's go to this Atlantic Oceans. And if I want to add an attachment, I can go to the bottom here and choose to add that attachment. So let me find that. We'll go to our demo school here. And let's say that it's this picture right here that we're going to upload. And file for lesson, we'll call it. And if I click save, it will not be viewable by parents. But if I check this box, then it will. So let's add that in and click save. And in fact, if I add another one, let's just go ahead and add one more. And instead, let's add this one right here. And let's not check that one. So we'll click save again. And so when I do that, now if I look at the weekly planner in Curriculum Track itself, notice that those two files are here. I can click on it and open those up and so forth. And if I go to the next one, I can do that as well. But now if I look at the public access view, it should only show the one file, and that's because I checked the box to say make that available to public access folks, and the other link is not appearing because we did not check that box. So again, to set up your public access, it's admin, setup, go to public access. This has all the public access tools, but if you go to the top or the bottom, you'll see the public access viewing of lesson plans. Need to turn it on, select your fields, decide whether you want attachments always to show up, and then decide on what linking device you want to use.